Here's something you won't hear at a typical checkup. Your body has a built-in defense system running right now in the background without you doing anything at all. It's constantly deciding whether to help a tumor grow, whether to calm inflammation, whether to repair damaged tissue. And for most people, that system is being influenced every single day by something as simple as what's on their plate. Most people think about food in terms of calories, weight, or energy. Almost nobody stops to think about food as a signal, as information your body reads and reacts to. But some of the most ordinary foods in the average kitchen are quietly switching on the body's natural disease-fighting processes, one meal at a time. Tonight, I'm walking you through 5 everyday foods that research suggests may help your body defend itself against chronic disease, including one that surprises almost everyone I share it with. Before we get into it, subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss videos like this one, and drop a comment telling me which of these 5 foods you already eat. I read every single one. Stay with me through food number 5 because it's the one that fools the most health-conscious people in the room. What fighting disease actually means. I'm Dr. William. After more than 15 years in internal medicine, I want to spend 2 minutes explaining what this really means because it changes how you'll think about everything else in this video. Your body is constantly doing quiet maintenance work, repairing cells, managing inflammation, and controlling something called angiogenesis, the growth of new blood vessels. Angiogenesis is normal and necessary for healing wounds, but it's also the process tumors hijack to grow their own blood supply. Your body also runs ongoing defenses against oxidative stress, the cellular damage linked to aging, heart disease, and cancer. Eating a certain way doesn't guarantee protection from disease. It can be affected by genetics, activity level, sleep, and overall diet pattern, not any single food in isolation. But when the right foods show up on your plate regularly over months or years, they appear to nudge these internal processes in a more favorable direction. And that's worth a much closer look than most people give it. The 5 foods below aren't rare superfoods. They're things sitting in ordinary kitchens across the country. Let's go through all 5. Food number 1, tomatoes. The first food on this list is also one of the most studied, and the connection to disease risk is now considered well established. Tomatoes are rich in lycopene, a powerful antioxidant that gives them their red color, and that compound sets off a chain reaction that eventually benefits several organ systems at once. Higher lycopene intake is consistently linked to a lower risk of certain cancers, particularly prostate cancer, in population studies. Cooking tomatoes, as in sauce or paste, actually increases the amount of lycopene your body can absorb since heat breaks down the plant cell walls holding it in place. Here's the part most people miss. Tomatoes rarely act as a single dramatic cure. They work indirectly by supplying antioxidant support that helps offset the oxidative stress that builds up in the body over years of everyday wear and tear. What to do? Cooked tomato dishes, sauce, soup, roasted tomatoes deliver more usable lycopene than raw tomatoes alone. Pairing them with a small amount of healthy fat, like olive oil, further improves absorption. Food number 2, green tea. The second food is one that's been part of daily life in many cultures for centuries, and it may be one of the more direct-acting items on this list. Green tea is rich in catechins, plant compounds that have been studied for their ability to interfere with angiogenesis, the same blood vessel growth process that tumors depend on to expand. That mechanism is one of the central research areas connected to food as medicine science. Regular green tea drinkers in several population studies show associations with lower rates of certain cancers and improved cardiovascular markers, though researchers are careful to note that tea alone isn't a treatment or a guarantee. For anyone looking for a simple daily habit with a plausible biological mechanism behind it, green tea is one of the more consistently cited options in the research. What to do? 2 to 3 cups a day, brewed rather than instant or heavily processed, is the amount most commonly referenced in studies. Steeping for a few minutes helps release more of the active catechins. Food number 3, dark chocolate. Surprised? Dark chocolate, specifically varieties with 70% cacao or higher, contains flavonols, compounds that have been studied for their ability to support healthy blood vessel function and reduce markers of inflammation. Several clinical studies have linked flavanol-rich dark chocolate to modest improvements in blood pressure and blood vessel flexibility, both of which matter for long-term cardiovascular and metabolic health. The catch is that most commercial chocolate is loaded with added sugar and low in actual cacao content, which cancels out much of the benefit. This isn't permission for daily candy bars. It's about the difference between a small square of high cacao dark chocolate and a milk chocolate bar, and how that distinction matters far more than people assume. What to do? Look for chocolate labeled 70% cacao or higher and treat a small square, not a full bar, as the effective daily amount referenced in most studies. Food number 4. Berries. The fourth food surprises people because it seems too simple to matter, which sounds like the opposite of a serious health strategy. But blueberries, strawberries, and raspberries are loaded with anthocyanins and other antioxidants that directly target oxidative stress, one of the major drivers of chronic disease. For the average person eating berries occasionally as a snack or dessert topping, that antioxidant load adds up meaningfully over time, even in modest amounts. Regular berry consumption has been associated in research with better cognitive aging and improved markers of heart health. The irony is that most people reaching for a sweet snack default to something processed, when a handful of berries delivers more disease-fighting compounds for a similar amount of sugar. What to do? Frozen berries retain most of their antioxidant content and are a practical, affordable, everyday option, added to oatmeal, yogurt, or eaten on their own. Food number 5, the one marketed as just a spice, turmeric. This is the one I asked you to stay for, and it catches even health-conscious people off guard. Turmeric, and specifically its active compound, curcumin. Here's the twist that makes this one genuinely different from the other 4. Curcumin has been studied not just as a general antioxidant, but for its more targeted anti-inflammatory and potential anti-angiogenic properties, meaning some research suggests it may interfere with the abnormal blood vessel growth associated with tumor development, similar in concept to green tea's mechanism, but through a different pathway. Research reviews on curcumin, including systematic reviews published in the medical literature, have found consistent anti-inflammatory effects across multiple studies, though curcumin is notoriously poorly absorbed by the body on its own. But, and this is the real catch, the presence of black pepper, specifically a compound called piperine, has been shown to dramatically increase curcumin absorption, which is why the two are so often paired in both traditional cooking and modern supplements. Simply sprinkling turmeric on food without any black pepper or fat may deliver far less benefit than most people assume, since most of the curcumin passes through the body largely unabsorbed. What to do? Pair turmeric with a pinch of black pepper and a source of fat, such as olive oil or coconut milk, when cooking. This combination is used in most of the research showing meaningful absorption. The bigger picture. None of these 5 foods are guaranteed to prevent disease in any single person on their own. The real benefit comes from frequency and combination. Tomato sauce a few times a week, a daily cup of green tea, a square of dark chocolate, a handful of berries, and turmeric worked into cooking can quietly stack on top of each other in ways no single food would, each adding its own small piece of protective effect. The good news is, this is one of the most controllable parts of long-term health. Unlike genetics or age, what goes on your plate is a daily choice, and small, consistent swaps compound in the right direction just as easily as they compound in the wrong one. When to talk to your doctor. If you're managing a chronic condition, taking medication affected by diet, or considering concentrated supplements rather than whole foods, don't try to figure out the right approach alone. Turmeric supplements and green tea extract in particular can interact with certain blood thinners and other medications, and higher dose supplement forms carry different considerations than food-based amounts. If you have a personal or family history of cancer, cardiovascular disease, or you're considering adding concentrated extracts rather than whole foods to your routine, it's worth asking your doctor whether that fits your specific health picture at your next visit. A patient story. Let me tell you about a patient, Maria, 58, who came in after a family history scare had her looking for practical ways to lower her own risk without overhauling her entire life. She wasn't interested in supplements or extreme diets. She wanted small, sustainable changes she could actually stick with. We looked at her regular diet together, mostly processed snacks, occasional vegetables, soda most afternoons. Rather than a dramatic overhaul, we focused on simple substitutions, swapping her afternoon soda for green tea, adding a handful of frozen berries to her morning routine, and cooking with tomato sauce and turmeric a few times a week instead of pre-packaged sauces. At her follow-up months later, her blood pressure had improved modestly and her cholesterol panel looked more favorable, alongside other lifestyle changes she'd made in parallel. No single food was responsible for the shift. It was the pattern, repeated consistently, that mattered. Everything in this video is educational information based on published research, not personalized medical advice. No one should stop or start a supplement or make major dietary changes without discussing it with their own doctor first, especially if you have an existing health condition, take medications affected by diet, or have been given specific nutritional guidance by your care team. Your action plan 1. Tomatoes. Favor cooked forms like sauce or roasted tomatoes with a bit of olive oil. 2. Green tea, 2 to 3 brewed cups a day as a simple daily habit. 3. Dark chocolate, 1 small square, 70% cacao or higher, not a full bar. 4. Berries, a handful, fresh or frozen, added to breakfast or eaten as a snack. 5. Turmeric, cook with it alongside black pepper and a source of fat to actually absorb the curcumin. Start by identifying which 1 or 2 of these 5 are already part of your routine, and make one small swap this week rather than trying to change everything at once. What's next? If one of these 5 surprised you, tell me in the comments which one it was. I read every single one. If you want more research-backed content like this, hit subscribe. New videos come out every week covering what the science actually says about food, disease prevention, and healthy aging. I'm Dr. William, and I'll see you in the next one.